Welcome to the ZoShow Live, sponsored by Distal Point Tumbling. Distal Point Tumbling, premier tumbling in Kansas. Let's bring Distal Point Tumbling to you. And when I say premier, I should have said premier mobile tumbling. Yes, we have the equipment, we have the coaches, we come to whatever facility you can let us in, whether that's a basketball court, a gym, whatever you have, we'll make it work. Now, let me tell you a story. So, I played basketball in high school, right? I went out for the sport my junior year for the first time, but I didn't think anything of it because I grew up in New York City and I spent hours upon hours playing basketball at the park, right? I'm like, this high school thing, this will not be a challenge for me. I do this. And needless to say, I was wrong, right? I couldn't dribble with my left hand. I couldn't lay up with anything that had to do with offense, dead. I was horrible at it. And needless to say, I did not get to play very much, right? Until my head coach had to leave on sabbatical. He had a personal matter come up, and they called up Coach Allen from JV to be the interim. Literally, I kid you not, the very next game, he's telling everybody their positions like, hey, you starting at point guard, you're starting at center, Kobe, you're going to be small forward, Zoe, you're a power forward. Everybody stop. Zoe's that power forward? We have a starting power. Like, Sean's right here. We have a starting power forward. I said, Coach, their power forward is 6'2". He's finna block all my shots. Coach Allen, in the most serious tone I've ever seen him in, right? He said, their power forward averages 17 points a game, but tonight, Lorenzo's going to hold him to 6, and they better all be from free throws. Right, Lorenzo? I was like, yeah, no, for sure. For sure. He might not even get those 6, Coach. I might break his wrist on the way to the rack. He can't shoot. He not finna get to the rack, Coach. Right? And it was right there that I learned a very important lesson. There is nothing worse than having a weapon and not knowing how to utilize it. As a coach, right now, what weapons do you have on your team that you're not utilizing? So today, we're going to talk about the 5 best ways to utilize your running tumblers. Let's get started. All right, let's start with football season. Football season, the best way to utilize your running tumbler is to have them do running tumbling when the football team runs out. Okay, now this could be a little tricky depending on what type of ceremonies you have, what traditions you have with the football team running out onto the field, especially early season, right? Early season, everybody's still hopeful. Everybody is still doing the most pregame. So this could be a little tricky. But if you can at all have the field clear on their path to where the football team is going, having 2 or 3 cheerleaders lead the way, running tumbling as the football team is coming out is incredible. Now imagine that there's smoke and they're running through a banner. Oh my goodness. Excellent. Okay. Number 2, keeping it in football season. First half timeouts. That if you have running tumblers, that's the best time for them to do their running tumbling is first half timeouts. It's very exciting and they're not tired yet, right? I like to have my running tumblers do their tumbling before they get tired. They can wear themselves out and then they'll do stunting in the next half of timeouts and they can use the whole team to do that, right? Now, if you're a coach like me and you're like, okay, well, I'm the type of coach, if I have 12 people, I want all 12 people doing something, right? So if I have 2 running tumblers, what are my other 10 people doing? Great question. They're spiriting. They're doing toe touches. They're saying, let's go, boys. Let's go, blue. Let's go, white. Let's go, Mustangs. You can do this, Titans. Whatever the team may be, spirit. Spirit, do your jumps and let your running tumblers do running tumbling, okay? That's a great thing to do. Now, keeping it in football, another great time to do running tumbling is after a touchdown, right? Do the touchdown, have the running tumblers tumble while everybody's doing pandemonium, and then everybody come back onto the track as a unit. Now, if you really want to spice it up, this is just a thought, right? But if you have somebody who can do multiple back handsprings, it'd be really cool if they did a back handspring per touchdown. So round off back handspring, 7 points. Round off back handspring, 14 points. Round off back handspring, 21 points, right? And so then the crowd kind of gets used to what's going on and everybody can get excited like, is she going to get that next one? And then it's like, I hope they score again so I can see if that girl can do it. And obviously if she can't, then she can't. And that's okay too. We're still very excited. It's just exciting the whole atmosphere just turns up, right? And we talked about crowd involvement. So this is a great way to manipulate crowd involvement. Now, let's go over to basketball. Okay? Basketball. The best time for running tumblers, to utilize your running tumblers, is at the very beginning of a full timeout. Now, some of you may know this, but a lot of you don't. The coach, either coach from either side, no, that's not true. Whoever's team has the ball is the only team that can call timeout. Okay? So if our team has the ball, they're going to call timeout. Either the athletes or the coach. Once the athlete or the coach calls timeout, you'll look over to that coach's bench and you'll see them do one of two motions. They're either going to go here or they're going to go here. Okay? If they are in a half tee, let's talk in cheer terms. If they're in a half tee, it's a 30-second timeout. If they're in a full tee, it's a full timeout. Okay? Keisha rules, Kansas High School Activities and Sports Association, whatever, Sports and Activities Association, only allows you to run onto the court on full timeouts. Actually, I think that's all basketball rules, actually. So, if you see the full timeout go, send your running tumblers right then and there. Okay, have them go ahead of everybody else before the court gets crowded, before anything gets on there, before the dancers, before, boom, have them go running, tumbling, boom, boom, boom. Nothing gets the crowd hyped like running, tumbling. Oh, snap, did you see that? And now everybody's eyes are on the floor. Cheerleaders come on, dancers come on. Now we continue with the crowd involvement, okay? This is all about, not all about crowd involvement, but crowd involvement really, really helps. And it definitely doesn't hurt. Okay? And the last thing that I have, right? Best time to utilize your running tumblers is to utilize your running tumblers when the officials are deliberating over something. Okay? A lot of times, the officials need to figure out whose ball it is, or they need to look at the camera, or they need to look at the video to decide on if it was a fumble, if it wasn't a fumble, yada, yada, yada. That's a great time to have people running, tumbling. That's a great time to have people cheerleading. A lot of times, because we don't know what's going on and we're all excited, we're all trying to figure out what they decide, we turn into spectators, but we're cheerleaders, right? So when the officials are trying to come to a decision, that's a great time to start cheering, okay? Now, here's a caveat. You will want to check with your AD, your athletic director, to make sure they're okay with that. Some athletic directors are not. Some athletic directors are. Most of them should be, but you never know, right? So check with your athletic director. But if they're cool with it, if you ever see the officials huddling up together and trying to come to, boom, especially if it takes more than 15 seconds, go out there, cheer your hearts away, do running, tumbling, do all of the things, okay? So the 5 best times to utilize your running tumblers are during football. At the very beginning of the game, they're going to lead the boys out of wherever they're coming from the locker room to the field. Okay, they're going to be right in front. Number 2 is the first half timeouts. I like to have my running tumblers do their running tumbling at the first half of the game, because by the second half, they're a little bit more tired, and I just let them rely on their group stunts, and they can move as a team. It's a lot easier. Okay. The third thing in football, again, is after a touchdown. Great time to do running, tumbling. And if you really want to get cool, want to get spicy with it, have them do a back handspring per touchdown. If they are really good, if they're elite tumblers, if they have tucks, if they have layouts, let's say they have 21 points on the board, they can do back handspring for the first point, back handspring for the second point, tuck for that last score that they just did, right? how great would that be? It would be like a firework, like a human firework at that point. Okay. And then the last thing is, or the last two things, I guess we have two more. Basketball. At the very beginning of a full timeout, that's when your running tumblers need to sprint out. They need to go right there. As soon as you see timeout, full timeout, boom, go, sprint. The time does not start until the referee lets the middle table, I don't know what they're called, but as soon as the referee lets the middle table know what the designated timeout is, that's when the time starts. So if you take off from here, when you see that, you're going to get even extra time to do what you want to do. And then the last one is when officials are deliberating. If officials are deliberating for a minute, if officials are deliberating for 2 minutes, that's a really long time. Let me count to 10 real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. See, that was painful, right? Now imagine sitting around for 3 minutes trying to wait for something to happen. Don't do it, okay? If it goes 15 seconds and we still don't know what's going on, get out there. And if at 20 seconds they figure it out, come on down, end it, come off. But they could go for 3 minutes and then you would have wasted valuable time where people would have been more involved, more engaged in the story of our cheer programs. So, okay, so those are my 5 things to do to utilize your running tumblers. Now, let's talk business. Let's talk shop. Cheer Coaching Secrets blog. It is live. It will be up tomorrow. Well, it's actually live right now with our first blog. It is the 4 things we can do to increase crowd involvement. My idea with these blogs is it's a quick reference. You can print it out and then you can just take it to practice as opposed to having to listen to a 20-minute live or 15-minute podcast. Okay, so Cheer Secrets blog is out. It is on distalpoint.myclickfunnels.com/blog. I will just put it in the comments. Then the ZoShow podcast is also live right now. Live right now is also the 4 things we can do to increase crowd involvement. Now, the difference between the podcast and the live, well, the podcast is going to get straight to it. It's just me giving facts, no jokes, no stories, no nothing, just this is what it is. So if you're an auditory learner, if you want to be able to listen to the ideas, the concepts, and the drills while you're at work, maybe you work behind a desk, maybe you work at a factory, whatever the case may be, put on the podcast, you can still get the information. Next up, if you enjoyed my training video on jumps, I have a training video on how you can teach anybody a round off from scratch. Okay, that means they've never had any tumbling. They are 16 years old. They don't know what they're doing. They've never been upside down before. I have a training video that starts from the rooter to the tutor. So if you want to be able to do that, purchase my training video, how to coach a round off from scratch. Okay, it is also on the distalpoint.myclickfunnels.com. It's in my store. You can get it right now for $39.99. And if you need individual help, if you're a coach and you're like, Coach Zo, I need all of it. I need all of it right now. Give it to me before the season starts. I want to be ready. I'm here. Okay. Email me at info, I-N-F-O, at distal. Oh, I guess there's no words on this. Is it on the back? Yeah, there you go. Info at distalpoint, distalpoint.com. Info at distalpoint.com. Email me saying concerned coach looking for help. I'll email you right away and we'll make sure that we can help you get the tools that you need to help the athletes that you lead succeed. Hey, peace. Have a great night. Have a beautiful night. And we will see you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks, guys.